we're with the incredible Nkuhuma pride of lions, our main lion pride. It seems like all 5 females are here, and 1 Birmingham boy, and at the moment we can only see 4 cubs, but others could be around. Now they are looking quite angry. Who knows, they might get up and get on the move this morning. Can you hear an impala alarm calling in the distance? I'm not sure whether it's alarm calling at these lions. Oh no, it looks like it's time to go back to snuggle weather. It is sort of duvet weather this morning, and the lions seem to be thinking exactly that. It's a good time to snooze. No. One of the cubs sleeping there. How many are there? 3 there, Jean-Joe?
And then the 4th suckling.
And then the 4th is suckling behind the bush. Is that impala alarm calling? I wonder if it's not one of the other Birmingham boys around. Right, there's, I can see the impala. I want to see where he's looking shortly. So there's the impala there. See if he looks towards us and snorts. Oh, see how he's looking. He is looking in our general direction. I don't think he spotted those lions unless they were standing up. And the squirrel's also going, and I don't think the squirrel's going to be able to see the lions from here. I might just go have a quick look there just now. But if we look right next to us, the amber-eyed lioness and one of the other females are very snugly sleeping together there with the Birmingham behind them. Now, someone just asked whether lions or other big cats dream. Cola was wondering that. Now, Cola, we do see them dreaming, very similar to what dogs or cats dream. They're probably chasing buffalo in their sleep, but probably not as common as it is in domestic animals. Oh, isn't that just too sweet? Guys, I've just heard Jamie's having problems with her game drive radio, but it sounds like Karula's just caught something. So I'm going to just try and get hold of her. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just hearing on the game drive radio. We've got sleeping lions here. It sounds like Karula's on the move. We'll just see what happens. Impala alarming behind us. Quickly! Okay, so we've been going through some distressing stuff with the lion cubs, and the fact that I only saw 4 with the pride made me come to where they were yesterday. And if you are sensitive, now is the time to, as James would say, go get a cup of tea, look away, turn down the volume. The sight itself isn't gruesome, but it is quite difficult. The second cub is definitely down now. Although we thought the first cub was with a broken back, it's probably more than likely disease. It's just too coincidental that 2 cubs showing very similar symptoms have gone down. We will notify the correct people and the management, and they will decide what to do. So we're not going to stay. We're just going to have a quick look, just so everyone knows what's going on. We're not trying to hide anything from anyone. So we've come back to where we were yesterday, and there's a second cub down. I'm going to keep looking for the other sort of two that we didn't see this morning. But there have been outbreaks of disease, and it could also be a genetic disorder. I've heard of pride of lions in the south of the Sabi Sands, where all the cubs showed very similar symptoms to this, but it was a genetic disorder, and as soon as they got to about this age. So there we go. That's all we're going to do here. We're going to move on now, and do send in your questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And of course, some answers I don't have yet, because we're going to have to notify the correct authorities and the state vet and all those type of things. Now, a lot of you might not agree with what the decision is from the Sabi Sands management or from the and you must remember, they don't make decisions by themselves. They consult the state vet, they'll maybe consult Kruger vets, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on that a lot of people outside of the sort of professional wildlife world, specifically when it comes to veterinary and stuff like that. There's a lot of decisions that are made that might not make sense to the general public. Now, put it this way, the Kruger and Sabi Sands and that have been going, or Kruger's been going for over 100 years. So they are probably, and also they are almost certainly the best run national park, if not in the world, in terms of research, biodiversity, and all that type of stuff. So even if we sometimes disagree with their choices, we really have to just take a seat back and realize that they're working off 100 years worth of data. We're working off what we're seeing in front of us. So there's a lot of stuff, and we will try keep you updated, and I will try get the most current and best information for you as soon as I get it. So I know it's very difficult, especially since we've watched these cubs grow up over the last 6 months. But again, this is nature, and diseases have plagued lions for as long as there's been lions, and it's as difficult as it is for us to see that. And Michael's got an interesting observation. He says, do I think tick paralysis could have made the cubs paralyzed? It could be a tick-borne disease, and if you look at some of the lions at the moment, they've got a really big infection of ticks. Sorry, Jean-Andre, our aerial's fallen down. But as I said, Michael, I'm not going to start guessing, because as soon as you guess, you get into trouble. We'll just let the right people know, and then as soon as I or any of us here at Safari Live have the correct information and we know a little bit more, you will be the first to know. Oh, well, I know it's so difficult, it's so sad, but there's not much we can do about it. I'm going to go back to where the rest of the lions are now. I'm going to have a careful look around there, see, hopefully, fingers crossed, the other two cubs are still there. We just couldn't see them from where we were. And it is very sad, but if you look at lion population in a stable lion population like we're in here in the Greater Kruger, there are always ups and downs, ebbs and flows. Now, as I said, I'm not going to make any guesses. I'm going to wait till we know for sure before we start speculating. And often that type of stuff, as I said, you speculate and you're wrong, and people start getting the wrong information, and in an age like we are in today, that information can spread like wildfire, even if it's not correct. So I'm just going to wait till we get the right information about what's going on, and then from there we will tell you immediately. Now, we're going to head off towards the rest of the Nkuhuma Pride, see if we can see where the missing cubs are. While we do that, Steph is tromping around in his size 11s somewhere out in the bush. So we have moved on. We're just checking very carefully. I've got the tracks of the Pride coming down the road here, and I'm just making sure that there are no other cubs sort of on the way. I'm heading back to where we found the rest of the Pride. I'm going to go have a much more careful look now at maybe below, maybe there were cubs we couldn't see. Maybe that's what the impala and the squirrels were alarming at. Now, more than likely, as I said, I'm not going to speculate, more than likely, if it keeps going, one of the carcasses of those cubs will be collected, taken to the state vet, and they will do a necropsy of the cub to try to figure out what's wrong. And depending on what's wrong will depend on what they do from there. So as I said, as sad as it is, we can't jump to any conclusions just yet. Let's just wait and see what happens. Oh, that was a bit bigger. Now actually something really funny happened last night to Brian and myself while we were off air. So after that incredible lion fight, I've got my sneaky spots that I use for crossing riverbeds, and I've used this one spot many times, and because of the rain, it's obviously made the soil a bit soft, and unbeknownst to us, underneath was an aardvark burrow. A disused one, fortunately, and we were driving, the ground looked exactly like this, perfectly fine, and off we went, and we just went boom. Now we're back with the lions. We're trying to see, we've come from a different angle to try see if we can see any more cubs. So see, there we go. So we've seen 4, but there looks now to be 2 or 1 hiding under the bush, so that's 5. He's really hiding under there. So as I said, I think it's quite likely that there's 6 cubs here now, and I think it is better to know than not to know where the others are and what's their state. So we're not going to be spending time with those injured or ill animals, but we will keep you updated on what's going on. Okay, let's go around so we can see the rest of the pride. The authority looks worn out after his boxing match last night. Now, of course, when you hear me say the authority, I'm referring to Nkuhuma, who's one of the Birmingham boys. He's that one we see the most often. You can see he's got that wound on his face that is healing up really nicely. And he had a fight with one of the other Birminghams. It was so quick, I unfortunately didn't identify which was the other one he was having an argument with. Sleepy lions. They haven't moved far. They've probably moved about a mile from where we were with them yesterday. Unfortunately, if we look at the moment, these cubs, these 2 in particular, look very healthy. Now, one of the problems with social predators is that because they spend such a lot of time in close proximity to each other, it does make it much easier for certain diseases to spread through a pride or a litter of cubs. Now, it's difficult to say whether those 2 cubs are from the same litter or not. I would say they look to be similar age, but we must remember 6 of them were very close in age. Hello, Fluffy. Has he got a nice stick as a pillow there? Yes, he does. He's having a little scratch on the stick. Oh, little yawn. We must just remember how privileged we are to be able to spend as much time with the lions as we do, and we get to see the best and worst of the life of lions. And a lion's life is not easy. It's really tough out here in the African bush. I mean, the best way to explain that is, I mean 70% of all cubs die before a year old, and it's good lick. self-grooming, not aloe grooming this morning. And if we look at the age that adults live to in captivity, they'll live over 20 years, and in the wild, males 12 years and 15 years for a female. There we go. I'm just going to move around, see if we can have a bit of a better view from the top side. Now, hello, Cindy in Tennessee. Cindy is wondering, do the lionesses know which cubs are theirs? And the reason Cindy's asking that, for those who are not sure, is that lions practice aloe suckling. So lionesses will let cubs that are not born to them, but are born to the rest of the pride, suckle from them. Yes, Cindy, almost certainly they do know which cubs are theirs, and if those cubs do die, they will come into estrus quite shortly after that, sometimes as quick as sort of 10 days after the cubs have died. Now, with other cubs around, that might suppress that a little bit. It's difficult to say, but normally, yes, they will come into estrus quite soon. Well, we're going to get into a good spot with these lions. While we do that, Steph's got a horse who forgot to take off his pajamas. As you can see, the Nkuhumas are napping away still. And there's literally not an iota of movement from any of them. Those two look very cozy. And so, out of the... Oh, listen, lions. We heard another male lion roaring a little earlier. It sounded like it was behind us somewhere. And I think while the pride snoozes away, I think we might go look for the male lion who's on the move. Maybe he's heading back here. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see another interaction between two male lions. That was absolutely fantastic last night. Those sounds were incredible. There you go. There's his big paws. About the size of a side plate. Definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of one of those slaps. Okay, so Aubrey's coming in here. There's only really space for one car where they're sitting at the moment, so I'm going to make space for him. I'm going to see if we can find that male that was roaring about 5 minutes ago. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions. And if you don't believe that we're live in the African bush, why don't you test that hashtag on Safari Live? Okay, so while we go to try find another male lion, let's go to a male leopard with Jamie.